Hi Snorers, I see you guys really like my character design video, and now today I was thinking that wait, I have another issue. What is it now, Tiny Marsh? I made a super cool character, but now when I draw her she always looks different and I can't seem to get it right. Well, that's perfectly on time because the topic of today's video is making character reference sheets. Drawing your characters the same every time can be quite a challenge, and that's why today I'm going to teach you how to make a character sheet so you can keep your characters roughly on model. I'll be breaking down the main parts of what makes a good character sheet. Without further ado, here's tip 1. Hi, so if you're watching this video, I'm assuming you're coming from my how to make characters video. I put a poll up when I hit 2K subscribers to see what videos you guys would like, and you guys overwhelmingly picked reference sheets. My whole entire art journey has been surrounded around making characters, but not so much ref sheets because that was something I had to learn how to do. So I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make them. My first tip is to think of your character's reference sheet like their resume. As I've said in my last video, I like to think of my characters as though they're real people, because they are, and you can't tell me otherwise. Right, so think of them as real people and think of their character sheet as, you know, like a resume or something that someone would look at to give them a good idea of who your character is, how they look, and what they do. Of course, you also have to keep in mind that your character sheets are gonna look different depending on what they're for. For example, an animator will need a way more thorough reference sheet than someone who's just doing simple illustration. If you're just interested in keeping your characters on model for your casual drawings, then what I recommend is how I do my character sheets, which is one full body and the rest are expressions or even a little chibi, just so you can get another full picture. I do my reference sheets in 2 separate parts. I do a main reference sheet and then I take that image and then make a bigger canvas and do like accessories and stuff for my characters around it. But anyway, back to the base. I didn't get the speed paint footage, don't kill me, but I couldn't get the speed paint footage for my sketch. But what I like to do when laying out a reference sheet is definitely start with your full body and then you decide what you need on the sheet. I like to focus on expressions, 1 full body, and then the rest is expressions and 1 chibi. So that's what I did. I sketched out a full body of my character Naki here. A chibi, it's not a chibi yet, I don't think so, but it will turn into a chibi. And more than 1 expression. I see character sheets with 1 expression. That can definitely work. Like I said, all of this depends on what you need the character sheet for, but I like to do multiple expressions. Some people struggle with the layout of their character sheets, and I totally understand, but what I like to do is focus more on what I need in the sheet first, and then the layout kind of just forms around that, because I always like to tweak things, see where things can go and make it look better. But there's also, I don't know why people think they can't do this, you can also use other people's character sheets as a template. You can copy the layout of someone else's character sheet, just don't copy their character. Something that I don't do is draw my character from like the 3 main angles, which is like front, side, and back. I just don't find any use for the side and back, because whenever I draw them I kind of just end up like winging it anyway, because I rarely draw those angles. I'm really like face focused in my art, I feel. So always make your reference sheet something that's actually going to be useful to you. If you know you don't draw your character facing the back, then you don't need it on your reference sheet. Now this may be specific to my style, but I go straight into just freehanding it, I could say. I don't know how I would describe it, but it's basically freehanding because like I don't know, I don't do a full sketch, so I almost just draw the base poses and then I just go in with, I guess, quote unquote line art. Well, that's what it is. I go in with line art straight after and just start drawing. Some people, or I think most people, would just sketch everything out and then line it. I don't really do that, but you guys can definitely do that. I feel like your reference sheet doesn't have to follow a different process than you would any normal art. And you can see here's where I had the revelation that I wasn't going to use a side view, so like I just changed this into a chibi so I can get even more of a feel for her. Now this brings me into my second tip. Make sure your character sheet shows your character. It may sound so stupid, but you guys will understand what I mean. I feel like this is mainly for illustration or like just personal use when you want to have the character sheet for specifically to draw your character. I feel like in animation and things like that could be different, but for me, I hate seeing character sheets where the character is just like, you know, T-posing in space. And like I said, that works for things like animations because you need it that way. But what I feel like when you're making a character sheet or a reference sheet just to draw your OC, make sure that we can tell your OC's personality. So for example, in my sheet, I always do a full body. In that full body, the pose is always going to be related to something that the character does. For example, this character here is Naki, and she's like a party planner, and her main thing that she does at her parties when she plans them is serve food or sweets or desserts, because that's mainly what she does. So I always kind of draw her with this plate of sweets in her hand. So I wouldn't exclude that from the reference sheet because it shows a crucial part about my character. So sometimes I do chibis and the rest is just expressions because I want you to be able to see like what type of character this character is, what's their personality. For Naki, she's very anxious because she wants everything to be perfect, so that's why I drew her chibi kind of stressing out, and another not full body, half body on the right side showing that like she's stressed out about something. I don't know, maybe the cakes aren't rising fast enough or something like that. Right, so I guess you can call that a character sheet pet peeve of mine. Do not have them just posing in the middle of nowhere unless you need it that way, i.e. for animation and stuff like that, where things have to be very technical. Other than that, give your character some cool poses and personality. Now here's another tip from me. Well, everything is a tip from me, but like this is specific to what I do. Make sure your character is wearing the same outfit in the reference sheet. I don't know, I feel like things get a little bit complicated when you draw them in multiple outfits, unless it's crucial to their story. Like my character Bonnie, which was in the previous character design video, she had 2 outfits because her whole thing is having a double life. So what I like to do is focus on one outfit, because if I want to showcase other outfits, I'm just gonna make the character sheet bigger. I'm just gonna do a 3-step reference sheet. I've only done this once before because I was really obsessed with one character and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna make a comic, and that never happened. But I could do that one day, but that never happened. So I would make one sheet, just the base sheet, like what you see me doing right now. Then I'll have one sheet for accessories, and then I'll have one sheet just showcasing different outfits that the character has. So in your main reference sheet, which is what I'm really going over today, I say focus on one outfit because things can get a little bit complicated or off model when you do different outfits. That honestly goes for hairstyles too. Of course though, you can do whatever you want. If you feel like you do a good job at keeping your character on model regardless of what they're wearing, then do that. My next tip is, I didn't do it as much in this reference sheet, but leave like small blank spaces for little cute designs, or even like small accessories that you don't need to put on another sheet or something like that. And of course, mind you can always put accessories on the same sheet. Like I said, you can look at different layouts on Pinterest and things like that of different people's character sheets and see how you want to do yours. Okay, so to recap the layout section, if you can call it that, because I'm kind of all over the place. Well, not really, but to recap that section, what I like to do is have one full body, another half body on the other side of the sheet because I want it to be balanced, and then expressions, maybe 2, and then a chibi. That's how I like to lay out my character sheets. I like to leave spaces for small accessories or even doodles, and also small spaces for color palettes. I like to focus on one outfit and one hairstyle to avoid complication and make sure things look cohesive and smooth. I like to show personality in my character design sheets and make sure that it's being read in every pose. Now that all of that is done, we can move on to the next step, which is color. Now coloring is pretty straightforward. You're just using the colors from your original character design if you have that. If you don't, click on this video right here. But anyway, in terms of your sheet, this is where you'll start laying down your flat colors. I like to do mine one by one, as in, okay, I lay down the skin color and then I render the skin, and then I lay down the hair color and then I render the hair, and then I merge those layers. Like I do everything in steps and then merge it all down. And I mentioned rendering, which brings me to a different point. Some people don't know how detailed they want their character sheets to be, and I say however detailed you draw normally. I feel like if it's for other people, then you can definitely just do flats and have like the rendering and stuff left up to interpretation. But if it's just for you and your character, I don't see anything wrong with making it detailed or making it exactly how you draw normally, because that is the goal. The character sheet is for you to draw your characters how you would normally, so they look the same each time. For my lazy artist though, I do recommend that the full body can be very detailed or to your normal standard, and then the rest of things like the expressions and the poses, they can just be flat colors. If you're truly tired or don't feel that they need to be as detailed as the body sheet. So one thing can be really detailed and then the rest can just be non-rendered. I'd also like to say, for my digital artists, if you always draw your characters or just draw in general with a certain like overlay or filter that significantly changes the colors, make sure you do that on the reference sheet, because you don't want people trying to draw your character, or just you in general trying to draw your character, say like years later, and you're using the colors that are on the palette but they're different colors because the filter isn't on it. So if you draw your characters with a filter, or you draw your art in general with a filter, make sure that filter is on your reference sheet so the colors can be more accurate. Or just remember the filter that you use. If you're ever unsure about your colors, I guess this goes more into character design and not just the reference sheet, but if you're ever unsure about your colors, put it in grayscale. It can like show you if your colors are like, I like to call it muddying or like blending together too much, and then you can just like adjust the tonal value of each color, and then you'll have a better color palette all around. If your character has any patterns that they wear on their outfits and things like that, make sure you at least make like a separate reference sheet, or even like save a corner of space in your current reference sheet to put that pattern there, because this pattern that I use in the reference sheet was not the original pattern that I used for Nike, and I'm kind of mad. I'm kind of mad, but at the same time, I think she's still cute with this more pink version of the plaid, because in the original it was like more brownish pink, I guess. I don't know how to describe it, but it was cute either way. They're cute either way. But the goal is to make your character consistent. So if you want your character to stay consistent, make sure you put those patterns in there. Now, this is non-negotiable for me. Make sure you put that mini color palette in there. Do you know how bad my Abyss color box looks? Because I have like different separate sections for all the colors of my characters, when I could just have a reference sheet and color pick it every time. Put a mini color palette in there. And how I like to do it is group it in sections. So like I said, my full body is rendered, so I like to put my color palette on the side of my full body. And so say the hair is one color, I put that color down, and then I put the shading color and then the highlight color on the side of it, like overlapping each other, so like you know it's a group and you know what color is the shade and the highlight and what's the base. Some people even do it in circles, which I find it was really cool, but I like to do my little overlapping dots. So make sure you group the colors and make sure you have your shading and lighting color. And again, put those patterns in there. Guys, is it just me, or am I one of those artists that always forgets something? I will sit there and tell myself, okay, I forgot to color in one of her bow lockers. I call them bow lockers. If you call them anything other than bow lockers, you're wrong. Anyway, right, I was like, oh my goodness, I forgot to color in her bow lockers. I'll do it in like 1 second. And somehow I finished the entire piece and I'm ready to export it, and I'm like, oh, I still have not colored in these bow lockers. It's like, it never fails to happen. I have never completed a piece of digital art and not had to go back in and fix something. Right, so those are all my coloring tips. Now I want to go into details and accessories. Sometimes I write little notes about certain things that my character is wearing, or just like certain things about my character in general. I can put like their height, their weight, their sex, things like that. But honestly, sometimes you don't need it. Sometimes you just want your character sheet to be pretty. Sometimes. But sometimes I do like doodle things. So say if I'm gonna make another character sheet for Bonnie, well, I need to make her like a base character sheet, then I would like write, oh, this ribbon, put a little arrow, Naki gave her this ribbon, da 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 da, right? So you can know like certain things just to make it like even more personalized, I feel. And I feel like it's just cute. It kind of looks like a little doodle. And remember, a lot of things that you're gonna add on your character sheet solely depend on what you draw. Like a lot of people put like separate close-ups of like your character's eyes on the sheet, and like for me, I don't draw very detailed eyes, so I don't need that, you know. It depends on your art style, what you like to draw, and what you're using your character reference sheet for. Okay, and now just like I did in my last video, I'm gonna rapid fire some more tips. Number 1, facial expressions. They're one of my favorite parts because they can show a lot of detail about your character. I recommend you only do expressions that you know your characters make. If your character is literally the Grinch, why would you draw him being happy and smiling? He doesn't do that, so draw the expressions that he would do. I don't like when people make irrelevant expressions. Number 2, don't have your character standing in the abyss. Please, put a background. Please, like actually, put a background. It's actually so infuriating to have a beautiful character with such intricate designs and they're just standing in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't take all that to do a little abstract background, something like that. Use layers. Make sure everything is separated at first and then merge it all together. Keep your color palette simple. This is not DeviantArt, okay? Get it together. Do not overcrowd the canvas. Make sure it doesn't look like a collage. Make sure things look like they're placed intentionally and they're not mushing together. Use consistent lighting so everything meshes well. Add notes for clarity on things you know may be a little bit confusing. Only draw what you need. You do not need 10 different angles of your character. Personality is your top priority. And my last, but honestly most important tip, you can always go back in and change your reference sheet, you know. You can always make another one, so don't stress about it too much. Anyway, now you have a reference sheet and now you can draw your characters perfectly every time you draw them. Thank you so much for over 10k views on my character design video. It actually means so much more to me than you guys could ever know because I love making characters and that's been my art focus since I even started drawing. So thank you guys for the support on that video. And I have a bunch of more OC videos planned, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, love you guys. Marsh is out.